All right, so welcome to our monthly update. Now, a bit of a change of tack today. I get so many common questions come across my desk on a daily, weekly basis, so I just wanted to answer 4 key questions that I'm getting, not only now, but probably for the last 10 years, to be honest. First one is, should I fix my interest rates? So the short answer to that is it depends. We need to understand, do we need some certainty in our life right now? If we're on a fixed income, we know there's a maximum amount we can spend, and we've got these running costs in our life that are going out of control because of interest rates or cost of living, etc., and we want to put a stop to that and get some certainty around it, then we can fix our rates, or at least some of it. So it might be 30 or 40% of our total interest rate that we actually fix instead of the whole 100. At the minute, fixed interest rates aren't that different to what the variable rates are with a lot of banks. So what's that telling us? Well, generally speaking, probably means that the banks aren't going to increase the variable rate too much more going forward. But hey, just my thought on the whole situation there. So if you want some certainty, go and fix your rates, but understand that the best time to fix rates was probably 2 years ago when interest rates were at 2%. Generally speaking, variable rates will win out over fixed because it gives you flexibility and you can ride the waves and just factor in the cost of that rate. Second question is, should I hold off buying? Now, again, what's in your control, what's out of our control? What's in our control is the ability to have a deposit, whether it be cash or equity, and the ability for the banks to lend us a certain amount of money based on our own income versus expenses. Once we've got that in order, our second part of that process is, in my mind, am I ready to buy property right now, or am I going to wait another 6 months because I've got a change of job or I've got to go overseas in the meantime, or something's not right, okay? But if we're thinking about not buying now because we think the market's going to drop further or drop at all, then we're placing things out of our control. We're hypothesizing, we're leaving it up to the property guys to say, well, in 6 months' time, the price will be the same, it'll be higher, it'll be lower. At least with buying now, we guarantee the price that we come in at. So I'm always in favour of buying now and not trying to speculate the market. That's my 2 cents worth on that. Should I hold off buying? For me, it's probably no. Do I think the property prices will plummet because of all these fixed interest rates coming off? I don't think so. I don't think we're going to see blood on the street, and I've said it before. I just feel that the markets around the country are already pretty tight, and the supply coming onto the market is really slow. There's not enough dwellings being built at the moment, and there's a lot of people wanting to enter the market, especially now the interest rates have slowed somewhat. So I see that holding off is not going to pay too many dividends for you. The third question I get a lot of is, what are markets doing? And I sort of answered that just then, but capital cities and regionals, or larger regionals, most of all of those put together, we're seeing some growth in the last few quarters, right? We're not seeing, again, some dramatic decrease in prices. There are certain pockets of regions that have seen a slight decline, 1%, 2%, 3%. Over the last 12 months might have equated to even up to 8 to 10%. But we're not seeing any further drops in that respect. So markets generally are holding their own. The markets that we're investing in, unfortunately or fortunately, whichever way you look at it, are definitely not plateauing. They're not retracting. They are slowly creeping forward. The vacancy rates are low, which I'll talk about in a moment, and there's enough buyers out there, but the problem is there's just not enough stock on the market. So the good property is still attracting a good number of people when it comes time to sell. And the last question I get is vacancy rates. What's happening with vacancy rates? So we've got to look, and SQM Research is a really good data point for this. You can look back on there right back to, I think, 2005 as we see it right now. So we get a good chunk, 18 years in fact, of history for a particular suburb anywhere around the country. It's great to be able to see the trends of that. Is it going up and then swinging back down, or has it got a consistent vacancy rate right through that 16, 17, 18 years, which shows it's a very consistent, well-performing market? And that vacancy rate should be sitting probably under, ideally, 2% as an average, but probably worst case 3%. If we're seeing an average over the last 10 years of 5 and 6%, we know that's quite a volatile market and can easily succumb to high vacancy rates and high supply and not enough demand pushing that supply down. So what are vacancy rates doing generally? Well, in the last 12 months, 2 years, vacancy rates in a lot of areas have been sort of sub 1%, which means not even 1 week per year that each property in that location is vacant. What are we seeing now? We're actually seeing a slight increase. So we might have vacancy rates that were 1.4, they might be now 1.6 or 1.8. Okay, again, not blood on the streets, not a huge amount of increase in supply there, but there is a little bit more, and that's putting a little bit of downward pressure, what I think, on weekly rents or asking rents, right? Instead of getting your $450, you might only get your $430 as an investor. So that's great for someone wanting to come and rent a property in a particular location. It doesn't mean they're going to be paying too much over the price of what is worth it in that particular area. But again, so many markets around the country, isn't it? There's houses, there's units, there's townhouses, there's apartments, right? And within those markets, there might be 10 or 12 suburbs, and they're all different as well. So we've really got to take a case-by-case basis. Hopefully that's given you some data or some research points to check on just to see what's happening in your local area. But as always, sing out if you want to have a yarn. And by the way, there's another podcast I forgot about, My Millennial Daily. So Shelley Johnson from My Millennial Careers wrote an awesome book, Sort Your Career Out. And Glenn and myself, we jump on and do daily podcasts. So we do a group one together, and then individually we do other episodes on different days as well. So I specialise in the property space, obviously. So yeah, check that one out, My Millennial Daily. It's exclusive on Spotify. So you need to head across to there if you're using Apple or something else. Get across to Spotify and check that out. That's pretty cool. Just like 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes worth of good quality content. We don't bang on, we just get to the point and get it done.